All right, welcome back to Draws and Fades, episode 84, preview of the American Express, which will be played on 3 different courses in La Quinta, California. I'm your host, Owen Vrabel, joined by my co-host, Matthew Miller.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back.
And producer, Nick Boss.
What's going on, boys? How are we doing today?
Not bad.
Doing pretty well.
Health is in a little bit of a bad state currently. Had a little bit of an ATV accident over the weekend, and obviously we'll get into the recap of the Sony Open, but Russell Henley obviously just ripping my guts out on Sunday and Thursday. So we'll get into a recap of the Sony Open. We'll give you a course preview and tournament history at the American Express. Tournament's had a ton of different names in the past. This is also a Pro-Am. So it's a full field event with amateurs and will be scattered on 3 different courses, the La Quinta Country Club, the Nicholas course, and the Stadium course. And the cut won't be until after Saturday's round, which is, unique in this circumstance. So we'll get into our strategy this week for what we're looking for betting outrights, go through the odds list on Fanduel, top of the board, mid-range and long shots, give our picks of the week, as well as some thoughts on top 10s and top 20s. Potentially some first-round leaders, even though all those prices will be slashed since there are 3 different courses everyone will be playing on. So, again, give us a follow on Twitter at Owen_Vrabel, at MattyMills85, and at Draws_N_Fades. And just as a reminder, we are joining the team over at Rotoballer, so make sure to give them a follow and get some of our writing content, which will be coming out this week as well. And we are on YouTube now, so go check out our YouTube channel at Draws and Fades too. So... tough week at the Sony Open, boys. I mean, I can't remember the last time someone had a 5-shot lead with 9 holes to play and got chased down like that, like Henley. But we'll start on Thursday, where Henley's playing great, and Kevin Na decides to shoot 9 under and rip our hearts out on day 1, where Henley shoots 8 under, Na shoots 9 under, and Henley, of course, the 18th hole ended up to be his demise the whole week because all he needed was birdie to get a split play on the first round leader bet, and he couldn't get up and down from like 45 feet. So tough start to the week there.
That chip on 18 where he just totally botched it. He tried to play it into the hill, and I mean, he left himself like 20 feet for birdie.
Yeah.
Couldn't have played it worse.
Played it worse. And I mean, the only day he played it well, he eagled on Friday. If he had just birdied Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday, he would have hit the first round leader, split pay, and would have won the tournament for me. Nevertheless, he did not do that. And on Sunday, left the door wide open for Hideki, who I'll say, I mean, he was playing just kind of carefree. I mean, he knows he's a major champion. He's a tremendous golfer, and he kind of was just playing very carefree and shoots. I think he shot 400 or 500 on the back, and Henley shot 1 over. Yeah, he shot 1 under. He shot 4 under, and Henley shot 1 over on the back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Henley still played pretty well on Sunday. Obviously, eagled the 9th and went up 5. But for him to miss at 10 foot on 18, I pretty much knew at that point that he was not going to win in the playoff. Then he puts his tee shot in the bunker, just like he did on 18, 10 minutes prior. And Hideki hits a 3-wood from 277 to 3 feet. So,
yeah, that was an insane shot.
It's a dagger to the heart. And that was an insane shot. He couldn't see it. I'm like, oh, all right, maybe not that good. And the guy's like, oh, this is looking great. I'm like, no way. 3 feet. And meanwhile, Henley had already hit, and he's like in the middle of the fairway, like 120 yards out.
Yeah, he had to like chip out of the sand.
Right. And then he needed to basically hole out from there, in which he did not. He went over the green. So, I mean, I'm still going to bet Russell Henley more this year, but it's going to take me a little while to recover from that because obviously he has the game to win the PGA Tour event. It's just for whatever reason he can't close the door. I will say Sam Burns had similar issues, not nearly as drastic as having a 5-shot lead and then blowing it, but
I feel like this is almost 2 in a row. Like last year at the Wyndham, I think he was like, he had it won too. I mean, it wasn't 5 shots, but I think he was up like 2 or 3 with maybe like 5 holes left.
Yeah. He also had a few more people chasing him. Like it wasn't just one guy, but
yeah, it ended up going to like a 5-man playoff,
right?
Which he missed.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He missed the playoff. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna take a little while to shake off that Henley loss, but I mean, he did cash me a top 10, and Ryan Palmer cashed me a top 20. Keith Mitchell cash a top 20 for you. So it could have been worse, but it was a devastating week because there was so much promise and we could taste the money and it just disappeared in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
So.
And how much do you hate Kevin Na after this week?
Yeah, Kevin Na sucks, dude. I fucking hate Kevin Na because I'm so tired of the walk-in putts. Like
he just like beats it. He does it on every putt.
Right.
And he has it on the back of his shirt. Like
I hate it. Yeah.
The logo is ridiculous. Like just fucking roll the rock, dude. You don't have to.
You're a good putter, dude. We don't need you to like chase your ball after you putt it. Like,
well, it is funny too. I think it was.
You know what? It is going to create some good content though, because it already happened this week where he like walks on and then it doesn't go in.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to be looking forward to.
But it's funny too. It's like his big marketing thing, and I think someone said this on Twitter. I think it was Chet, but he was like, "Has anyone actually bought that shirt?" Like he's trying so hard to like push this, but no one's like doing anything with it.
I mean, I don't know how many Kevin Na fans are out there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he must have some fans if he's he's pushing it pretty hard. It doesn't seem like he's getting quick bites on it. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to forgive him very quickly for destroying our first round leader bet either. But what can we say? Hawaiian swing did not go well for us, but
we are landlocked states, people.
Yeah, we're back in California for the California swing. Hopefully, have a little better luck here, and it's going to be another birdie fest type week. The 3 courses we're at are definitely 3 of the easier courses that you'll see on tour. It is a unique setup in the fact that it's a pro-am, so it's going to be a dragged out event that's going to take forever for rounds to be played. You're going to see it's not as like much as like the A-listers that used to show up when it was the Bob Hope Classic. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some characters out there, but there's no shot link on 2 of the courses. It's going to be tough to track. Tons of guys on the courses. But there are angles to make money this week, and that's what we're looking to do. So, Matt, I guess let's get into it. We're at the American Express. We're in California. What are we working with this week?
Yeah, we have 3 courses. The stadium course is the main course. Pete Dye design. We're going to see that for 2 of the 4 rounds. So the field is 165 guys. 55 are going to start on each of the 3 courses and rotate throughout the first 3 days. So like you said, everyone gets to play 3 rounds. If you make the cut after that, everyone plays the stadium course on Sunday. Yeah. All 3 courses pretty similar in the fact that they're par 72, under 7,200 yards. Bermuda greens, although there has been some debate on that on Twitter.
A lot of overseeding.
Sticking with Bermuda, but yeah. A few people have had some conflicting reports on the seeding, but you know, we're gonna go with Bermuda.
Let's go. Yeah, we'll go with Bermuda.
Yeah. It's a birdie fest, like you said. Previous champion Siwoo Kim won last year at -23. Landry won the year before, -26. Adam Long, 2019, -26. John Rahm in 2018, -22. So you can see by those scores, last 4 years, lowest winner was -22. So people are going to need to go low to win this thing. I remember Patrick Cantlay shot a 61 on Sunday last year, almost chased down the leader. So guys are going to go extremely low. You're going to need to do that this week in order to win. Some things to consider before you get into kind of what you're looking for this week. 12 of the last 13 winners of this event have played one of the 2 Hawaiian swing events going into this. So a little bit of form you might want to consider because guys who haven't played in probably like a month and a half at least.
Right.
So that has been pretty crucial in, the last 13 years at least. A little bit on the course. It's similar to last week in the sense that you don't have to be extremely long. There's a lot of layups off the tee and forced layups. Accuracy, obviously, always, an advantage, but the rough is some of the least penal rough on tour. So I wouldn't really focus too much on it. As long as you're not absolutely killing yourself and going in hazards or out of bounds or whatever off the tee, you should be fine. After that, it's kind of come down to approach and really a putting contest. A lot of long shots win this one. I think John Rahm's the only person in the last 5 years who has been 20-1 or lower to win.
Yep.
We see what was 60-1 last year. We've seen, I think Landry went off at like 400 to 1 or something. So there is an opportunity for some bombs this week to be thrown out there, because in an event like this, you can have some long shots winning it. I don't know if you had anything else to add on that, but
yeah, I mean, for me, I'm looking at it pretty simplistically. I think this is another similar course where I think course history comes into play. A lot of guys who play well here continually play well here. Like you said, long shots are 100% in play this week, which is a little bit scary considering Jon Rahm has won here previously. So the world number one is here. And we just saw him absolutely destroy a course in Hawaii, take a week off, and now he's back going off at like 6 to 1. So there's plenty of long shots over 100 to 1. And I think, the value on the board certainly is in the long shot range. So you're looking for guys that can get hot and make birdies, that can putt well on Bermuda, play well on shorter courses. Like I said, played well here before. So yeah, I mean, and as always, I mean, strokes gained approach. If guys have been striking the ball well recently, which is tough to say since we've only really had 2 events in the last month and a half or so, I'll be looking into that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get into some adventurous thoughts as we get into the over 100 to 1 range and we get into some long shots. But other than that, it is intimidating that Jon Rahm is here. So the guy is a monster, and it seems like this year you're going to be trying to dodge the weeks where he ends up winning, and you're just hoping to God that if you have a long shot in play, that Rahm isn't anywhere near him come Sunday. And we're trying to thread the needle here. So I guess we'll get right into the odds list on Fanduel. Jon Rahm, as I said, is going off at 6 to 1. And then Patrick Cantlay, who also has played very well here, as you said, shot a 61 on Sunday last year, is at plus 750, so 7.5 to 1. So those 2 guys are clearly the cream of the crop. And then we have 6 guys under 30: Scheffler, Finau, Sungjae, Corey Connors, Taylor Gooch, and Abraham Ancer. And then Matt Wolff and Seamus Power are both around 30 as well. So those are 9 guys, 10 guys, including Rahm and Cantlay. Any thought on actually biting a bullet and taking Rahm or Cantlay this week? I mean, they're clearly the best of the bunch that are here this week. But 6 and 7.5 to 1, not very enticing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it, especially when you consider the amount of long shots that have won here. It kind of shows a little bit of the randomness of it. So I couldn't bite the bullet on 6 or 7 to 1 in this field.
Yeah,
it is scary, and it's almost even scarier the fact that you have 3 rounds before the cut, because like they're probably going to go low in one of those 3. You know what I mean? The chances of them like playing bad and not being in the mix is a lot more if they just have one bad day and miss the cut. But
right.
Now you can just have one bad day where you're not that good and then have 2 really good rounds and be right in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, having the cut after 54 holes instead of 36 definitely changes it up a bit and gives the guys who can go really low a little extra leeway.
Yeah, it's almost like playing JT in like the no cut events, because
right.
like even if you start slow, you still have plenty of time to get hot. And this is, I mean, almost like that in the sense that if you're going to win, I mean, you're going to be within that cut line after 3 rounds anyway. So,
yep. So yeah, definitely dodge a nose. I would say though, I mean, in a one and done type situation, those guys both. I mean, Rahm, obviously, any week you play him, you're going to feel pretty good about it. And Cantlay as well. I think they'll both be good in majors, so you may want to save them. But you could easily play them one and done this week. I don't think I will, but they're definitely crossed off the list in terms of outright bets for this week. So we'll get into the other guys. Scheffler, Finau, Im, Connors, Gooch, Ancer, Wolff, Power. Some decent names here, and they're not at horrible numbers. You kind of we don't have all the elite guys here this week by any means, so the numbers aren't great either. But I think you kind of maybe want to take a guy or 2 up here, and then that's going to be my strategy at least this week. Take a guy or 2 up here and then float on down. We're going to get down there pretty quickly to where you're down to 70, 75 to 1 and over. So I'm going to start the week with Sungjae Im. He totally fucked me last week on one and done by missing the cut. But you just don't see inconsistency for Sungjae very often. He's obviously won the Shriners back in October, followed it up with the 9th at the CJ Cup, 19th at the Houston Open, 8th at the Century. And you couple that with him being good on the shorter courses. It was actually, it was a pretty big shock for him to play as poorly as he did last week. So hoping he can shake that off. And he's played well here before. He's got 2 12ths and a 10th place finish in his last 3 years. So I think Sungjae bounces back, and at 21-1, I don't think it's a horrible number. And he's in the mix of those guys that can compete with Cantlay and Rom on a Sunday, and he's a proven winner. So I'm gonna give Sungjae another shot here, and hopefully he doesn't bone me like he did last week.
Yeah, I'm on board with you. I'm taking Sungjae too.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I consider a few names around here, but I like everything you just said. Obviously, he was really bad last week. I thought he played well at the Tournament of Champions 2 weeks ago, so it's not like we haven't seen him play good since the fall. He played pretty well. First event of the Hawaiian Swing. He's ready to go. He's played 2 events under his belt so far. And, like you said, he's good on short courses. He does pretty well. He's top 10 in the field in the last 32 rounds on Pete Dye courses as well. Obviously, the stadium course is a Pete Dye design, so I like that too. And 3 good showings here so far. I expect him to bounce right back. And like you said, I mean, he's one of those guys where if he's in the mix on Sunday, you feel like, he can win it.
Yeah.
He's won these events before, and he is kind of like a big name that, you would have to watch out for down the stretch. You feel pretty good having him as long as you're not against, a Rahm or a Cantlay. But
yeah, and he doesn't give you like Russell Henley vibes, obviously, where you feel like he's going to potentially choke. I mean, I think, winning golf tournaments are difficult no matter what. And that's why I'm not, it's not the worst thing in the world that Henley blew that lead last week. It could happen to anyone, but Sungjae kind of gives you that confidence. He seems pretty unflappable out there, pretty consistent guy. So I can't imagine he plays poorly in back-to-back weeks. I would suggest him as a one-and-done play if I hadn't already used him. But, yeah, I think Sungjae is a good place to start. You taking anyone else under 32?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Abe this week. He did not fare well for us last week.
No.
That said, he just really didn't putt well. He didn't hit it that bad. I didn't watch Friday's round. I watched most of them on Thursday. He hit it pretty well. He just wasn't making any putts.
Yeah.
But he's got good history here. 5th last year. He came in 2nd 2 years ago. He legitimately had a chance to win. He was right in the mix there on Sunday. He's another guy that plays short course as well. Plays Pete Dye well. He's played each of the last 2 weeks. He hasn't looked that good, but I like that he's now had 2 events, under his belt. He should be ready to go. I expect him to bounce back this week. He always does well at this event, so yeah, I don't expect it to be any different this year.
100%. I'm back on Abe too, so we're in lockstep at the top of the board, which I love. Yeah, I mean, he lost 2.5 strokes putting last week and over 2.5 strokes putting the week before as well. I just can't see that continuing. He's way too good of a putter. I mean, he's consistently gaining strokes putting. He's been a good Bermuda putter, consistently. So I trust Abe to bounce back, and 29-1. Again, if he had played well the last couple of weeks, you'd probably see maybe a little bit shorter of a number. I understand that, he's not quite in the obviously Rahm or Cantlay, realm of anything, but he's played as good as you can ask over the last year and a half. So I think Abe will bounce back. Love his course history. Love that it's a shorter course. And like you said, yeah, he's warmed up. He's loose. He's not played particularly well. But again, if the putter is the biggest issue, that's something I could see him flipping easily in a given week and getting right back in the mix. So, all right, I love it. Did you consider anyone else up here? Everyone's all over Matt Wolff this week, which I don't think is a horrible play. He's one of those guys that could, make birdies with the best of them and certainly get hot enough to win this event. Didn't love the number. Haven't seen him yet this year. I mean, he has played well off of pretty long hiatuses, i.e. like the U.S. Open, where he had like a 4-month layoff and played well, but couldn't get there with Wolff. I thought about Gooch a little bit too, but didn't love the number.
Wolff is, for me, way too volatile to take him at a 31-1 number. I almost prefer to just kind of take him as a long shot and know that he kind of has the talent to go low if he puts it all together.
Right.
But you could take him at this number and he could be almost in last place in the field.
Right.
And that's not what I'm hoping for, for one of my top guys on the card.
Right.
So I didn't give too much consideration to him. I thought about Scotty Scheffler a little bit. I think that it's a nice fit for him and he's a guy that can go low, but I don't like the fact that he hasn't played yet this year. And it's tough to take a guy under 20-1 when he's never won before.
Yep.
I don't care what the event is. It's just you can't say the win equity is there when it's never happened. I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win, quite a few times. But it's tough to just bite the bullet, without having seen it before.
Right, and he has finished third here 2 years ago, I believe. But I totally agree with what you're saying with Scotty. I mean, he's now in that range where it's like, shit, well, it seems like he should win multiple times a year is what the odds are telling you. But we haven't seen it yet. So, and that's, I mean, kind of similar to Tony Finau. We've given him a little bit of a break, but now at 21-1, I think he'll be popular this week too. And
I thought about him, yeah.
I didn't love that number either. I mean, this is another course that he should thrive on too, but I don't love that his putter is not potentially, I don't love him in a birdie fest type opportunity where his putter could easily let him down, where he should be making a ton more birdies. He's going to give himself opportunities, no doubt. But I mean, unless he catches the putter, a putter like Hideki did last week, who's notoriously not that great of a putter either. So it could happen. But again, I think our heads are in the right spot with those numbers aren't great for guys that, may not be consistent winners. I mean, although we did take Abe, but that's a better number, 29-1. So
yeah. And I mean, he's won more than Scheffler, to be fair.
That is fair. And Corey Connors, Power, and Gooch, I think all ball striking wise are going to give themselves plenty of birdie looks this week. Like they all popped off in my model. Gooch has been tremendous with his irons, as has Power. But again, those are not numbers I'm used to taking when I'm looking at them. Like I would like them over 40 towards 50-1 instead. And I think there's some guys down the board that provide similar win equity that are at maybe double the number. So
yeah, and especially with Connors too, I think, when you talk about potentially having to make 25 birdies or, you can make some eagles or whatever, but go 25 under in an event. I don't trust Corey Connors' putter enough to get to that number.
Yep. Yeah. Very similar to Finau in that sense. All right. So we'll move on down a little bit. Patrick Reed at 34-1. My guy, Russell Henley, is at 36-1. Don't think I'm going to be doing that this week. Siwoo Kim is at 38. And then we have a slew of guys at 46. Justin Rose, Cameron Trangali, Will Zalatoris. Then Ricky Fowler at 50 and Christian Bizaden at 55. So this is an interesting group of about 10 guys. Obviously, there's definitely win equity here with the veteran guys. But were you looking at anyone in particular here? I'm sticking away from Henley this week. I don't think after the mental meltdown I saw out there, I don't think he's going to be able to compete again this week. But I will say though, he should be able to. This is another course these courses will suit him well. He's under 7,200 yards, doesn't have to be long. He's obviously hitting his irons well, but mentally, I think it's pretty tough to make as many birdies as he did last week and fall short like he did, and then come back the next week and give himself a chance. So
yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, I mean, if you liked Henley last week, there's no reason not to like him this week.
Right.
Other than what you just said. I mean,
right, where
it's tough to have.
Who the hell knows
like
what kind
happen.
of depression he went through on Sunday night into like probably still today. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good of a chance as you're going to have.
I mean, he won a lot of money. I'll say that. So it depends on his personality, I guess, but I'm not willing to take the risk on that.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. I can't take him this week.
You taking your boy Patrick Reed?
No, I got to tell you, man, as a Patrick Reed guy, I'm a little bit worried about the state of his game right now. I mean, he does have 2 top 5s in his last 5 starts, so it's like, you could take that as a positive, but it's looked pretty ugly out there.
He's playing the PXGs, dude. It's a curse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. It's really not good off the tee, which this week doesn't matter that much, but I don't know. I mean, I got to see more from him. I'm usually feeling a little bit more confident in his game than I am right now. I have not seen much from him, so he better get it together, pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but I'm not on him this
honestly,
week.
If he keeps playing poorly, he could show up at a bigger event, and his numbers will keep getting better.
Yeah, I mean, he could maybe fall and keep falling before the Masters, and I'll jump back on board or something.
Yeah,
but that number hasn't really dropped much. I checked.
That's all you can hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. I mean, I feel like they kind of don't change those too much unless it's going like in the opposite direction. Like they typically don't give you like better numbers until like the week of.
True.
But like guys like Sam Burns or guys who have played better, they kind of shrink the numbers for time. But yeah, I consider
defending champ. Any consideration?
I'm not really a Siwoo guy. I don't.
He is a good Pete Dye player.
He is
one here, one of the players, but
short course guy. I think there's. I just don't like taking Siwoo in general for the most part. And at 38-1, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't like taking back to back either.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really show up too well for you last week.
Yeah, well, no, I mean like picking him to win the event 2 years in a row.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, no, after last week, I definitely would not be taking him back to back.
Yeah, that was like a double entendre, to be honest. That could have multiple purposes. So are you taking anyone from under 55, or are we going up? Are we going up higher?
I think I'm going to take Christian Bizaden.
Okay.
I don't know if I've taken him outright before, but I do like him this week. He's top 5 in the field, strokes gained putting on Bermuda in his last 36 rounds. He's pretty good strokes gained on Pete Dye as well. He gained 3.5 strokes in approach last week. His weakness is just off the tee. He's very bad. But we talked about it in the opening where you can be fine if you're in the rough here, and there's some layups off the tee. So maybe, the driver is not going to be out every hole. The chances of it being erratic, a little bit less. So I'm hoping that, some of that gets negated this week. And, he can just get hot with the putter. I don't know, if he's going to be able to go this low, but at 55-1, he kind of rated out in a lot of the things I was looking for this week. So I'm going to take a shot at him.
I don't hate that. I feel like he's one of those guys too that can definitely get really hot with the putter. So he could find himself in the mix in a birdie fest type event. I like this area typically between 35 and 55-1, but nothing really jumped out at me as something like I had to take. I'm considering Trangali and Fowler for top 20 plays. I think this is the year that Ricky's going to get back on his horse and kind of get himself back into the mix. And he's had some pretty good course history here, finished 21st here last year, 10th year before, 33rd, all the way back in 2014. But I do like his back-to-back performances here, especially last year since his game had really fallen off. I think he's going to show us those glasses or what he needed to get back in the mix. So I wish that the number was better on Fowler. It should be more towards where like Gary Woodland and, the guys that are further down the board are. I don't really understand why he's at 50, but I'm going to look into him for a top 20.
Yeah, I had that written down. I think he's plus 220 for a top 20.
It's not bad. So I'm hoping that could be
my take that with you.
Yeah, so I don't hate that. And, I'm not super confident in the outright plays I have left. Obviously, they're all going to be long shots for the most part. So we'll see. Rick could end up on the outright card. I may have to just to get back on board with Ricky.
I already see you leaning that way.
Yeah, I wasn't leaning that way. And now that we're talking about it, I don't know if I'll be able to resist. But Cameron Trangali as well. Last time we saw him was in Houston, and he was back in November. He, finished 7th. Also came in 2nd at the Zozo in October. He kind of finished the year strong last year. I mean, from July through November, he played very good golf, only had one missed cut. And this event he shows up to every year. And, he only has one top 20, surprisingly, but he's only had one missed cut in the 10 years he's been here. So I think the fact that his game has progressed over the last year and he's coming to a familiar course, I think he'll play well this week. Also was kind of surprised to see him at 46-1. I mean, he doesn't have a PGA Tour victory and he's at 46-1. Doesn't really make sense, but I do like Trangali for a top 20 play.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that.
And I considered Zalatoris, but 46 again wasn't a good enough number for me. Similar to Scheffler, I think, he hasn't won yet, obviously. I think the wins will come, but maybe they won't. I mean, he came off the Korn Ferry Tour with all this hype, and he hasn't really lived up to it. We've seen flashes of what he can do, but in a birdie fest, I don't know if he's got what it takes.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't really seen – I mean, I like Zalatoris, and I think he is going to win a good amount, but we haven't seen him go really this low, and it seems like these events he can kind of, thrive, but his putter's not good enough to make that many birdies. He almost plays the tougher events better. He finished, I think he was top 10 at the U.S. Open in his first U.S. Open appearance, and he played really well at the Masters last year. Yep. So it seems like he actually plays better at some of these tougher events than he does at the birdie fest type of events.
Right. I mean, he does have top 20s at other type events, but in terms of contending, and he also did not finish the year strong. I mean, maybe the layoff would have helped him a little bit to get kind of rejuvenated and refocused, but it's a little too early for me to be betting him at 46 when, again, we've seen plenty of long shots here in play. So let's start getting towards the long shot area. Alex Norton is at 65-1. Luke List, Lucas Glover, Carlos Ortiz, Johnny Vegas, Adam Hadwin, Michael Thompson, Jason Day, all at 75 to 1. Russell Knox, Gary Woodland, Brian Harmon, all between 80 and 85. And I'll just keep listening. Howell, Charles Howell III, Chucky 36, Kevin Streelman, Doug Gim, and Chris Kirk, all at 90 to 1. So a big grouping of guys here. And I mean, these are long shots. Anything over 70 to 1 is definitely a long shot. And there are big numbers as we get further down the board. But I figured we'd open up this slate. Pretty big amount of guys. I think there's pretty decent amount of value in this area. Are you considering anyone between 65 and 100?
Yeah, I have two guys in this range. Adam Hadwin, 75
yes,
to 1.
Love it.
You have Hadwin too?
I like Hadwin, dude. I mean, horse for the course.
Yeah, plus 310, top 20 as well. I mean, you said it. Between 2016 to 2019 here, he had 4 top 6 finishes. Yeah. I think 2 of them were second place too.
Yep.
2 seconds, a third, and a sixth, I think it was.
Yep.
I mean, you can't really argue against that. He's a good putter, good on Bermuda. When you talk about a birdie fest, he's a guy that can heat up with the putter. He hits fairways off the tee. So if he's, decent with his irons, I think he's very live this week. I think that's a pretty good number for him, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't bet Adam Hadwin often. But I will say, I mean, just over his last 10 appearances on tour, we haven't seen him since November. He had a 6 at the 3M Open in the summer, and then a 6 at the Shriners in October, where he did hit his irons well. And when he hits his irons well, his putter can carry him. And at a birdie fest like this, at a place where he absolutely loves to play here, I had a hard time not betting him at 75 to 1. I'm sure he'll be relatively popular, but with good reason. I mean, a guy that could play that well at a course, or at an event, I shall say, because obviously it is over multiple courses. I love it. So we're on the Canadian together. Beautiful.
Yeah, well, we have
cards looking very similar
right thoughts this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Scary.
I think it's lining up pretty well. I'm feeling pretty
scary,
good.
But it could be good.
Yeah.
It could be good. Yeah. All right. Good vibes. Good vibes. I like a couple of other guys in this grouping, kind of for top 20s as well. I'm considering a slew of guys here, and this is another week where I'm going to really have to shorten my top 20 list once we get to it. But Luke List is a guy I'm looking at. Lucas Glover is a guy I'm looking at, and Johnny Vegas is a guy I'm looking at. So that's a lot to soak in. But Luke List, for one, he's played well over the last 4 events we've seen him. He has 3 top 11s. So he finished the season strong. And he has a 6th at this event back in 2016 and finished 21st here last year. So the combination of him figuring something out towards the end of last year at the RSM, the Houston Open, and the Zozo, if he can putt well, he's going to give himself plenty of birdies. Like, he's going to strike the ball well at this course. So I trust Luke to at least make me feel like I have a chance this week with him. So I may take him outright, but I also like him top 20.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, he rated out pretty well in the model that I ran. So I do like that pick.
All right, who else you got in this area? I mean, like I said, I'll get to Vegas and Glover and Ortiz. They're all on the list. I haven't decided between all of them, so we'll see what happens.
I think I'm going to go back to Gary Woodland.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's a little bit risky. I mean, he hasn't played well.
It's kind of like the Fowler play.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a long layoff. We haven't seen him since November. He played well at the CJ Cup in the fall, but I mean, really, other than that, it was a pretty bad fall for him. He missed a lot of cuts. 2 appearances here. He came 16th in 2020 and 11th back in 2019. So not bad course history. In terms of like this desert style golf, he won the Waste Management. He can play well at some of these types of courses, but I don't know, Gary. It's more of a potential play there. I think that he still has some left in the tank. I mean, I don't think that he's completely done yet. And this is a guy who was really good like 2 years ago, really before the whole COVID layoff. And after that, he came out of the gates. He played pretty well in like the first event. Then it went really downhill for him. He got really inconsistent, but I'm hoping to figure something out in this offseason because I like Gary. I like to take him. I like when he does well. And down here at 80 to 1, I'm willing to take a shot that maybe he bounces back this week.
Upside is high on Gary. I definitely considered him as well. And I like this group of guys in particular. I thought were all relatively good thoughts for top 20s. And I would not be surprised if the winner came out of this area. So I like the Gary Woodland thought. I think Jason Day, similarly, I know our buddy Spencer will be all over that this week. I think
Spencer's going to like that shout out.
Yeah, there's potential with Jason Day this week for sure. But yeah, you just haven't seen the form. So you're really just taking a gamble, which is what we do. So I don't hate it at all. I am going to, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to do it. I'm taking Carlos Ortiz for a top 20. Getting back in the Carlos Ortiz Express. He has not played particularly well at this event. But last time we saw him, he finished second at the Mayakoba. And when his irons are hot, he's going to give himself plenty of opportunities. He popped off in my model. He's seventh in my model. I mean, he's fifth in strokes gained approach over his last 36 rounds in this field, eighth in ball striking. He's pretty good on the easy scoring condition type courses. He's 24th in this field on strokes gained total on courses less than 7,200 yards. And his putter is pretty good on Bermuda. So all things considered, I think he will give himself a chance this week, definitely at a top 20. And he may be added to the outright card as well. Because like I said, I do think that this range is pretty good in terms of win equity, but also nice value, high upside down here. So I know people are high on Michael Thompson this week.
A lot of people are high on Michael Thompson.
Yep. Alex Norton too. So was there anyone else you kind of considered here, or are we going deep?
I'm going to go deeper. I don't think I'm going to take any of these guys now.
Yeah.
Although I might take Gary for a top 20 as well.
Okay.
But yeah, there are no new guys.
All right. Yeah. And I'll say Johnny Vegas, another guy who I'd love to take. He played pretty well towards the end of last season as well. We haven't seen him again, long layoff, but the last time we saw him, he was 12th at the RSM, had a 14th at the CJ Cup in October. He's going to be on the top 20 card for sure, considering him for an outright. May look at him in a first round leader, depending on the odds and what course he's on.
Yeah, I like him first round leader play.
He's always a nice first round leader play, a guy that can definitely get hot. So Vegas is under consideration. Again, he popped off in my model as well. The approach and ball striking is phenomenal. What holds him back is the putter sometimes. So he's going to give himself plenty of birdie looks, and we'll see if he can take advantage. So we might as well jump on down. And we didn't really talk about a few of the guys there, but there's plenty of long shots to get into for top 20s, outrights, whatever the case may be, because there have been over 100 to 1s, over 200 to 1s to win this event. So if you're feeling something for any of these guys down here, definitely don't be shy. Let it fly. That just came out, so that was perfect.
I don't know if you had that planned or what.
No, I did not have that planned.
It's like your punchline, yeah.
Hey, don't be shy. Let it fly, boys. All right. So, over 100 to 1. I guess I'll list a few names. Cameron Champ, Cameron Hickok, Adam Svensson, Patrick Rogers, Brendan Todd, Harold Varner, Andrew Putnam, Sebastian Munoz, K.H. Lee, Andrew Landry, who's played well here. I got Denny McCarthy, who always disappoints me and then plays well when I don't take him. Phil is down here at 120 to 1. And then, we're quickly to 160 and above. So I guess I'll let you open the floor with anything over 100, and we can kind of just bounce back and forth.
I'm going to take one of your boys down here at 120 to 1. I'm not going to take him to win, but I'm going to take him for a top 20. He's plus 450. Harold Varner.
All right. Love it.
Yep. You're on board Varner as well?
Yeah, I'm on board, and he's going to be on the outright card.
I figured he would be. I didn't want to steal your thunder on it entirely.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I like him. He's a guy that can go low. We know that. Sometimes he has trouble, closing out tournaments, but I always kind of like him in these Birdie Fest type of events because he can certainly get hot.
Yeah.
So I like Varner this week. I think that he's going to come top 20 in this field. I know you probably have way more to say on him as your outright, but
yeah, he's 12th in my model. We know he can hit it with the irons. 10th in his last 36 rounds of strokes gained approach. 22nd in ball striking. He's putted well on Bermuda. He's 17th in birdies already better gained. We know he can make birdies. It's another thing. Can he close the tournament? That is to be seen. But I'm not going to miss it, especially at 120 to 1, where long shots are going to be flying like crazy. Harold has not played particularly great here. He does have an 18th back in 2019, scattered with a bunch of missed cuts. But I think we're kind of catching him at the right time. 4 out of his last 6 events in the fall swing, he did finish inside the top 20. He had 2 11ths and a 12th in there as well. He played well down the stretch at the BMW and the Northern Trust. So I like Harold this week. He was at 160 at one point on Fanduel. Now he's down at 120, but I like the top 20 angle on him as well. Could be a long list of top 20 plays this week, but the value will be there. So I like that start. I'm going to take Andrew Putnam for top 20. Okay. I haven't taken Andrew Putnam in a long time, actually, but he's another guy who can putt the lights out. He is not putted particularly well over his last stretch, but I do think he can get hot on a course like this, and he does have good course history. 21st here last year, 10th in 2020, 34th in 2019, 17th in 2018. So he's got an eye for these courses. He putts well here, and even though his irons aren't usually the best, he's gained strokes. He's gained over 2 strokes approach in 4 of his last 5 times here. So I like Putnam as a top 20 play this week. He will be on the card as a top 20.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. You can't argue with course history there. He is a guy that used to take him a lot, and it's been a while. But I kind of like that you're back on board. I think of you when I think of Putnam.
Yeah, well, he's also he's kind of like Denny, where like I just think he can win a tournament because he can just putt the lights out, but he ends up making maybe a little too many bogeys. So we'll see if he can. We'll see if he can resist the temptation to bogey himself around this course. Oh, so hit me with your next one.
I have one more play written down, but he's all the way down there. So I don't know if you have anyone else that's in the near mix here.
Well, I guess I'll scroll and I'll say Phil has played well here. We were on him recently. I don't think he's a bad shout at 120 to 1. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a perfect fit for Phil, but he has played well there. He hasn't won, but I think he has 3 top 5s in his career here. So I don't hate the Phil angle if you're looking at that this week. But yeah, no, I have some legit real long shots written down now that we're down here. But I don't even have anything under 200 at this point.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, it looks like we're looking pretty deep. You have a couple of them, you said?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's another familiar name that I've said plenty of times, and I'm not going to miss out on one of his first wins if he ever gets one. But
I already know where it's going, but go ahead.
Well, Matthew Neesmith, welcome back, buddy. Typically, the only good things you could say about Matthew Neesmith is that his irons are good, and that's still pretty much rings true. His putter has not been good. He's not played particularly well at this event. But he did have a 17th. I'll say he's only been here twice and had a 17th back in 2020. So, and he finished the year relatively strong in October, making back-to-back cuts, 46 at the Houston Open, 29th at the RSM. And I just couldn't resist at 340 to 1. I mean, I've taken him at like 100 to 1. I've taken him at 120 to 1. So now 340? Yeah, 340 to 1 on FanDuel currently. It's a bomb. Yeah. It's a bomb shot. Yeah. Why not?
You got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to add to that.
No. I mean, you don't want to look too deep into Matthew Neesmith because his finishes are never really that appealing. But he has a 14th at the Shiners back in October, where he did put a lot of things together, putted relatively well, and he's going to gain strokes on approach when his irons are hot. So 340 to 1, you could do worse. Hopefully he gets in the mix on Sunday, and he might want to cash that out, but we'll see. We're as deep as deep gets, and we typically don't get this nice of numbers on guys that we are pretty familiar with. And
I'll say this guy that I'm about to mention, I've never mentioned his name on the show. I probably never will again. I forgot he was on the PGA Tour even until he popped up in the top like 20 of my model. So I got to do it now. I'm gonna take a top 30 plus 550 on Ryan Moore.
Top 30?
Yeah, plus 550 for a top 30 on Ryan.
You didn't want to go to top 20.
Yeah, I don't trust him to get in the top 20.
Okay.
I'm going to walk you through this one. So he came 6th here in 2020. He has missed 6 of his last 7 cuts, but it has been all putting. So he's gained an approach in 5 of his last 7. He hasn't lost tee to green in any of his last 7. And the putting is just horrible. So I'm thinking, it's a volatile stat. Maybe he flips the putter a little bit this week. He had a 6th place finish here in 2020. I'm going to take a shot at him this week.
Wow. Yeah. We haven't heard that name in a while. That's for sure. So I do like that angle, though. That's a good angle. You might as well throw a couple dollars on it plus a 350 to 1 too. So.
I think that's like a long shot to win.
Of course, it's a long shot to win. He's 350 to 1.
Who
you put $3 on him, you're gonna win over $1,000.
Well, I might have to now.
Yeah. All right. I mean, while we're down here, I do have a couple other names that we've talked about plenty of times before. Doc Redman.
Doc, yeah.
My buddy Luke, sweated out is every time I even consider Doc Redman, he always says it's never Doc Redman week, which to this point is completely wrong true. So
yeah, but this is also like 430 to 1. No one would even say anything. It's like, why not?
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, the only thing you can really say positively is that he finished second at the Palmetto back in June of last year.
Yeah, which we took him at, and he was probably
ninth at the Byron Nelson in May of last year. So he does have 2 top 10s in the last season, which obviously the upside is still potentially there. You don't really have any current form to speak of. I mean, he's missed a ton of cuts in the fall swing. His best finish was 45th at the Mayakoba. But he's played here twice and made the cut both times. So it'd be a pretty juicy top 20 number, I think, on Doc Redman. I don't know if you have.
It has to be.
Yeah. I'll take a peek at that real quick.
Yeah.
But 10 to 1. So
all right.
I might have to look into that. But yeah, 430 to 1 on Doc. And then Richie Wierenski is at 550 to 1. Another guy that I've mentioned plenty of times that can get hot with the irons. And that's kind of about it at point. So tough to really back him. But at 550 to 1, I think I'll, throw a couple shekels out there. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's some very, very long. Brian Gay is at 650 to 1. If you're looking at even a longer long shot. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys down here, but I think we're pretty deep in the 400 range.
Yeah. And this week for me is all going to be about hoping that the guys in that middle tier for me, the guys I pick out for top 20s, have a successful week, and then hoping that Abe and Sungjae give us a shot on Sunday and that Ram and Cantlay just don't steal the gold from us. So I guess before we recap our plays, we'll bring Boss back in here. I know he mentioned pre-show he didn't have too many hot thoughts considering Ram and Cantlay are here, and that's a scary thought. So, Boss, what are your thoughts? You taking anyone this week?
First of all, I think we just found a great slogan that you need to adopt. Don't be shy, let it fly. I've never heard more on-brand words come out of your mouth. So
that's a good one. Yeah,
I think that's a good one. That one's got to stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Ram and Cantlay. I mean, I know there's good golfers in the majority of the fields. Some weeks are a little dicier than others, but I just feel like the run that Ram is on, and even the form that Cantlay's in, especially given his affinity for the course, really scares me. And the long shot game isn't typically the one that I play. That's more your guys' wheelhouse there. So I'm going to tread lightly. I'm probably going to jump on Sungjae with you guys because I think he's kind of the best guy in that tier right below Ram and Cantlay. I like the Hadwin top 10 horse for the course, little Canadian action there.
Love it.
And I kind of like that Bizaden hoot. I think that's how it is. Shout you had, Matt. So
there you go, Boss.
You can say it however you want.
Yeah, Bizaden hoot. As long as he makes a lot of birdies and maybe wins a tournament, then we'll figure it out.
Best. Yeah, let's call him Best.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. That's easy. I can do that. That's all I really got.
I don't know. Do you guys have one and done thoughts yet? Have you guys locked any of that in?
I might go to Sungjae this week.
He boned me last week.
So. Yeah, he's coming off a bad week last week, which I'm glad I pivoted to Leishman. Not that he was great, but he did make a cut.
Few bucks in the bank, better than zero.
Yeah, better than nothing. But yeah, Sungjae feels pretty good this week. When we talked about the course history, where his 3 starts, no worse than 12th. So I'll take that. I don't think he's a guy I'm going to be dying to use in any big events later on. Not that he's bad, but he's just not a guy that's going to be at the top of my list in like any kind of full field event. So I don't think it's a bad time to use him now.
I like that thought. Boss?
Yeah, I agree there. I was contemplating going up and using Cantlay just because I don't see myself using him, saving him for a major. But I could see myself using him at some other courses, some other tournaments down the road. But I'm still thinking about it. I mean, he's going to play really well here. I think I used him last year here, and he got a top 5, which is part of, that's in my brain right now of, it worked out well, just run it back, cash some top 5s, put the money on the board.
Yeah.
If not, I'll probably go with Sungjae, though. I like your logic there, Matt. I think this year I'm going to try to stay towards the top of the board. I know that it feels like, it's a long season and, you don't want to use too many good guys, but you don't want to get to the end of the year and be like, oh, I still have Patrick Cantlay in my roster here. So that's kind of my train of thought. I think that's what I'm going to do this year. We'll see how it works. So
yeah, I'm on the same train of thought. I'm between Cantlay and Answer. I think there are going to be a few Answer tracks towards the end of the year, but there are guys that play well on those courses as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm conflicted between taking Abe and taking Cantlay. I think there's less opportunities for me to take Abe, and maybe this is Abe week for the boys, but Cantlay is appealing in a one-and-done scenario this week. I'll say that. So
yeah, I don't know. This is a pretty good Abe track. I mean, 2 top 5s in the last 2 years.
It's a good track.
I would consider him at Heritage too, but these are the 2 that would kind of stick out in my mind for him.
Right. So this might be the one for me with Abe. But just a recap of what we're looking at this week for my card. For outrights, I have Sungjae, Abe, probably Ricky Fowler, Hadwin, Luke List, and Varner. And then I'm going to throw a few bucks probably on those absolute bombs with Neesmith, Redmond, and Wierenski, just for your shits and giggles. Going to throw top 10s on Sungjae and Abe as well. And then I have to narrow down my top 20 list for sure. I'm between Trangali, Fowler, Hadwin, Vegas, Putnam, Ortiz, Varner. And I mentioned Lucas Glover briefly. He obviously played very well last week. I would have cashed a top 20 if I
told you to take him.
Yep, I didn't do it. Can he play well 2 weeks in a row? Maybe he does. He has played well. So I'm considering him as well. So those are my top 20 thoughts. They will be narrowed down.
Okay. Yeah, I have my outrights. Sungjae, Abe, Bez, Adam Hadwin, Gary Woodland, and then maybe a few bucks on the bombs, Ryan Moore and Doc Redmond. And then top 20s, we're looking at Bez, Hadwin, Woodland, Fowler, Varner, and then the top 30 on Ryan Moore.
All right. Love it. All right. Well, let's get hot in California. Hopefully, this week's going to be tough to track, obviously, with no shot link at a couple courses. But it's all going to come down to Sunday no matter what. You're going to need guys in the mix, and then there could be low numbers out there. We've seen it done before. So hopefully we got a few guys in the mix, and let's win some money. And we'll see you guys next week.